G'day, Nigel here from Sax Cool. Today I want to show you how to play the solo from One More Night by Phil Collins. Now this is a really great solo and it's recorded by one of my favourite players, Gerald Albright. Gerald Albright's a pretty clever fella. He's a great saxophone player, but he's also a fantastic bass player. He's one of those guys that can do everything, bit of keyboards, bit of everything. But it's a classic bit of pop sax solo playing in this recording. So let's have some fun working through this. We're going to do it in the original key. I'm going to start off by playing the solo all the way through, and then we'll go back and we'll pull it apart bit by bit. So the solo goes kind of like this. And then he sort of fades out after that. Okay, so there's some really cool things in there, some fast lines, but also lots of repeated things in there, which is really great for us because it means that it makes it a bit easier to learn. So let's start with the very first phrase. So I've written this out in the key of C, and it starts with a sneaky E flat. So we're going to have all our 6 fingers down and our E flat finger here going up to E. So E flat up to E, and then up to G. So E flat to E, G, G, E, then another sneaky E flat down to D, C, C. Sounds like this. You're going to see lots of those little sneaky E flats. He sort of bends those or squashes them into the E natural. And in the next bar also he does a sneaky A flat up to A. So lots of those E flats to E's, A flats up to A's. So the second bar, sneaky E flat to E, G, G, E flat to E, and then G, and then A flat up to A, C, A, G, A, E. So slowly the second bar. So you see how you just squeeze those little notes in before the E flat before the E, and the A flat in before the A. So those two bars together, 3, 4. Got the idea? You're going to see that coming back lots in this solo, so it's good to get your fingers around it. The next bar, it's a bit the same really. Sneaky E flat again up to E, G, G, E, sneaky E flat again to D, C, C, D, E, G, F, D, E, A, C, D, B, A, G. So let's run through that slowly. We'll play it slowly. 3, 4. All right, cool. Let's try those first those three sections I've showed you. Let's try joining them all together and play it from the start. Here we go. 3, 4. Okay, cool. So that's actually 4 bars, and the pattern is a kind of 4-bar pattern actually over this solo. So let's look at the next 4 bars now. It's going to be kind of similar. So it starts the same way. E flat up to E, G, E, E, G, G, A, G, A, E. So same idea, just a slight variation. And the next bar, again, starts in E flat up to E, G, and then A flat up to A, C, A, G, A, E flat up to E, and then just a little, it's not a sneaky thing really, it's just a quick passage where it goes D, C, A, C. So I'll play that whole bar for you just slowly, just to get you used to how it sounds. Sounds like this. So that last bit, D, C, A, C. You want to try playing it with me? 3, 4. Okay, cool. So up to bar 7 now. E flat again, up to E, G, G, E, E flat to D, C, C, D, E, G, F, D, F, E, D. So that's very similar to the first time, isn't it? So that bar 7. Okay, cool. So that's 2 sets of 4 bars we know now. One thing I want to tell you about this chart is you got to remember that Gerald Albright is improvising this solo. So he was probably in the studio and they said, you know, Gerald, we've got an idea of something like this. Let's see what you can do. And then he would have just played it, improvising it really, making it up as he goes along. So the rhythm is a little bit, he sort of plays around with the rhythm when he's improvising this solo. He pulls the tempo a bit far, he speeds up in some places, slows down in some other places. But I've written it down as if it were accurate all the way through, and that makes it easier for us to learn. So what I suggest you do is really try playing it through and breaking it down with the rhythm as you're learning it, but then go and listen to the solo and try copying the way that Gerald Albright plays around with that rhythm. It makes it, it gives a bit more expression. Okay, so let's try those first 8 bars all together. So from the top of the music where it's marked figure A all the way down to figure B. Here we go. 3, 4. Alright, cool. So now we're down to figure B. Now a little bit different, the same idea but a slight variation on it here. It starts on A now. So it goes at figure B, A, G, B, E, this is high A by the way, A, G, B, A, G, and then down to E, D, B, G, A, D. And again. Okay, and the next bar, kind of the same. A, G, B up to high D, C, B, A, G, E. So if we try those 2 passages together from figure B, 3, 4. You with me? Okay, the next phrase is a really cool one. It gets a bit fast actually, this one. So we're going to break it down into little chunks and learn it bit by bit. I'll play it slowly for you first and then we'll go back and look at it step by step. So it sounds like this, slowly. Wow, so that's pretty mega, isn't it? It's a really cool little line. So let's look at it in groups of 4 notes. The first group is actually only 2 because he starts halfway through. So it starts with a B and an A, up high with my octave key on, right? B, A. Then the next group of 4 notes is G sharp, A, B, C. So let's try those. Okay. The next group of 4 notes is A, G, E, and D. The next group of 4 notes is C sharp A, C natural A. Are you with me so far? The next group of 4 notes, B, A, G, F sharp. Okay, and the next one is F natural, normal F, G, A, and then up to high E. And then D, E, F, G. We're almost there. Last one is E, D, C, A, and then finishes with D. So let's put the whole thing together. I'm going to play it through a couple times, starting nice and slowly. Okay, so with phrases like that, it's always important to break it down into little chunks, little easy chunks, and practice it really, really slowly. So the idea is to get the movement between your fingers super smooth. And if you can do it slowly, evenly, then it's easy to speed it up. But if it sounds lumpy when it's fast, it's very difficult to iron it out at speed. So always slow it down and then speed it up gradually. Okay, we're almost there. So after that, he goes like this. Nice easy phrase. This is bar 13. A, C, up high A with the octave key on. A, C, and then he goes D, using a palm key here, up to E. Like the D's like a little cheeky note up to the E. And then he goes to triplet, D, C, A, C, D. Okay? We'll kind of get onto the part here where he starts to do a bit of a fade out, the fading out the track. The next bit is D, C, A, D, C, A, D, C, A, G, A, sneaky D sharp up to E. So D sharp, same as E flat, right? And then the very last phrase goes like this. D, B, C, E, G. So this is middle D, 6 fingers with that octave key on. And actually, out of interest, those two groups are actually triplets. The first one is a triplet, but you're starting on the second note. So if you imagine bum, 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 rest, bum, bum, rest, play, play, rest, D, B. So those are the notes. Rest, D, B, C, E, G. You with me on that? And then the very last bar is high B. And it's a very similar line to the tricky one that we just learned. B, A, G sharp A, B, C, A, G, C sharp A, C natural A, and then B, G. Okay, cool. So there's a lot of notes in there, but there's some really cool phrases as well. So there's some fun things to isolate and really practice, get your fingers around and try and incorporate them into your own playing, because you know, there's some good stylistic cues in there of how to play, how to be a good pop sax player. Let's finish off the lesson by playing it all the way through now, a little bit slower than the original, but we're going to try and flow all the way through. You with me? Here we go. So from the top. Do, 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 do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, cool. Well, have some fun with that lesson, and don't forget to leave some comments and let me know how you're getting on. And if you're feeling really confident with it, make a recording and send it to me. I'd love to hear how you're getting on. Keep practicing hard. I'll see you on the next lesson.